Miss Martin Muses and mid-evening musings. Yes, precious, we are back and we're going to talk about cruelty. Not because I am endorsing it, actually, quite the contrary. So, if you want to know more about cruelty or just about anything else, please go ahead and tune in. Now, I have down underneath the banner, rather on the banner, about what would you like to muse. I do kind of allow an open musing in these musings, so please feel free to suggest something. I do have veto power. Also, since I am running to the end of my slideshows and my research that I've been putting together about things that I would like to muse on my daily musings, please suggest something you would like for me to cover in depth. So, before we get going into cruelty and what to do about it, let's see who is here. It is none other than Snortopupus Cooper, our polar bear from up north. I see that it is very cold. I hope you're staying warm on your iceberg. Hello, humans and other critters. We love our animals here at Miss Martin Muses. He is saying hello. Steve Kenobi, also from the north, at the same latitude as Snortopupus Gruber, as I like to think. Hello, Teresa. Hope you are splendid today. Why, yes, sir, I am. It is a lovely day. I went to get my bike fixed. I was going to get a maniped, manipedi, but my favorite technician was not available, so I'm going to have to put it off to tomorrow. That is a definition of a first world problem. Everyone is saying hello to each other. Corey Cochran, hello. Hi, all, he says. Steek says cover Predator 2. That is a great idea. I have recently been watching Predator for the first time. I believe we covered Predator, the first one, and Predator 2 would be a great one. I loved Predator 2. Yes, sir. And well, we'll yap later about what I can plan about it. It is a great movie, so I would recommend everyone see it. A great, great sequel. We also have Adega Outlaw. Hello, Adega Outlaw. Thank you for being here. It is always good to see you all. And let me know how your day is doing. And as I said, if there's something that you would like for me to muse in depth for another show, or even today, maybe after I get through my slideshow, please go ahead and let me do so. Now, the reason why I had cruelty on the mind, maybe about a year ago when I put this together, for no reason whatsoever. Usually when I get a musing together, it's because I'm either seeing something that really ticks me off that I want to talk about or that piques my interest, or I'm going through a temptation to be something. So I study it to do the opposite. Because if you're thinking of doing a vice, you do the opposite. If you're thinking about being cruel, you need to be kind. Thinking about saying something unkind, you say something kind, etc., etc., etc. Look who is saying hello, everyone. Will be lurking, Maine, says Corey Crocken. Yes, thank you. Steek says, everyone covers Run Never 2. That is a very good point. And in our 80s game, in our role-playing D&D thing that Steek put together for us, we had a cameo. Well, rather, cameo is too small a word. It was a major part of the plot point in our 80s game with the Predator, who helped us go to the moon to take care of zombie Mittler, who was trying to dominate the Earth, and his first act as Mittler, who controlled the moon, was to take out Sweden. So, yeah, we had good times. It's a little crazy when you say it out loud. Hello, Commander Snorty. Yes, we love Commander Snorty. Hello, Steve. Hello. Taylor Swift should have run as a third party. Yeah, that's one of the best things about the election. It is the end of the celebrity endorsement. Yes. All right, so let's just jump into cruelty. What is it? Well, cruelty is the pleasure in inflicting suffering. Sometimes when I have put on X things about cruelty, such as, it is never okay to be cruel. I stand by it. It is never okay to be cruel. I got some pushback where I believe some people misunderstood cruelty for standing up for yourself, or cruelty for being justly terse. if that makes sense. I think that's a good way to put it. That is not what I am talking about. That is not cruelty. You can be firm, you can be in your face, you can even be sharp with somebody without being cruel. I think a great example of this is if you watch the movie A Man for All Seasons, which in my humble opinion is probably the best depiction of St. Thomas More, warts and all. The version of him in The Tudors is also good, but he knew how to use words without being cruel, but with also being strong. That's different than being harsh as well. Harsh is a cousin of cruelty. But let's look again. Cruelty is pleasure in inflicting suffering. Like you enjoy it, it's a hobby. You think it's funny to inflict suffering onto others. It can be physical, but it is more commonly mental. Never okay. So, when is cruelty okay? Never. But what if this person did this? Never okay. What if this person said this? Never okay. All right? That doesn't mean you can't defend yourself. That doesn't mean you can't say, hey, you don't talk about my mama like that. You don't talk about my friends like that. No, I can't be around you anymore if this is how you're going to behave or if this is how you're going to react when you get a little bit frustrated with me. No, that's not cruelty. That's not cruel. That's not pleasure in inflicting suffering. It is Lorena Carrillo. Lurking while updating. Awesome topic. Yes. Mhm. Yeah. So, let's dig a little deeper. Another definition: callous indifference. Let's say this again: callous indifference to or pleasure in causing pain and suffering. Very similar, but I like this second definition because it also talks about callous indifference to. So, for example, you say something that goes too far, and someone says, that that went too far. That wasn't okay. And your response to is, well, then that's your problem. Guess you're a baby. Guess you're a cuck. Guess you're a loser. Oh, did that upset you? Watch me do one step further. That's cruelty. Is it cruelty if it only happens online? Why, yes, precious, it is. It's very cruel. Everyone knows that what is said online has real world consequences. Should it? Eh, I don't know, probably not. Should you really get upset about what someone you may have never met in real life says to you online? Oh, it's just the internet, bro. Should you? No, maybe. But it's a reality. We see this with people removing themselves from the planet over stuff that happens online. When you see the fact that bullying, especially in schools, has changed to online. It is so hard to catch bullying nowadays. It was hard enough before the internet, but now it's impossible because it's invisible. If you are the authority figure, if you are the teacher, you can't find it. You know it's there. And yes, you see the mental anguish of these people. And you probably know who I'm talking. We're all in the same circles. That you have people that just think they're being trolls. It's like, no, trolling is cruel. Here's a good example. This goes along with rage bait. Probably one of the biggest, most notorious rage bait things that we have seen in a long time if you follow the royal family. You might know that Princess Catherine of Wales is suffering from cancer. She has 3 young children and is very lovely lady from as far as I can tell. You never know how people are. But anyone that has cancer, it is not ever funny or okay or anything to that effect. I want to put an aside. Sometimes people will say, including me, And she has 3 young children. As though if you don't have 3 young children, it doesn't suck as much to have cancer. It sucks for everyone to have cancer, so I wanna support you all out here. As a single woman, yeah, sometimes that stings. It's like, everyone's like, "Well, this person has this, but hey, at least she doesn't have 3 children." No, that's not what's really saying is, but when you consider the fact that everyone has been a young child, look at how you look up at your mother, and for her to be sick in this way, publicly sick, it's hard. Catherine had her first public appearance on Monday. She has lost a lot of weight. And yeah, she looked a little worse for wear. She still looked lovely. She was lovely and she was dignified and she was celebrating the veterans. That's their version of Veterans Day in England. And this witch from Good Morning Britain, I believe, is a show that she is on. She decided to put out there into the world this, and this is just to me the best definition of cruelty I think I've ever seen. Do I have the exact wording here? I may not have it off the top of my head. I'm trying to look it up. This kind of spontaneously came to me from everything that's been going on. But what she said was, she said, Princess Catherine, she's only 42. She should not be looking this old. Is she a smoker? That's the only explanation I can think of. And boy, did that one go around the world. That it was the very definition of cruel. The reason why she was looking older than her 42 years is she just spent 6 months going through chemotherapy. And if you know anything about chemotherapy, it is brutal, absolutely brutal. And it's just one of the perfect definitions of cruelty I can ever see. You should not ever do that to your worst enemy, especially someone that has never done anything to you. She's just petty. She doesn't like the royalty. Many people don't like the monarchy, but she is a human being who has gone through hell. That is a definition of cruelty. Let's see, who else have we got? Everyone's saying hello. Let's see. All right. And that's another example of cruelty is if you're making fun of someone's illness, especially a terminal illness. Hey, caught you again. That is a little bit different than Schadenfreude. Speaking of Mittler, if you're thinking of Mittler, I mean, I think a lot of people were happy that he removed himself from the planet. No one's sitting around thinking, but what did his cousin think? That's slightly different. But somebody having something so unfortunate happen to them is never okay. If this individual loses her career, I think everyone would be okay with that. That is something worth getting fired over. That's a good example of cruelty. And we know people who say things like that online. When people have somebody that is ill, they lose a family member, or something horribly tragic happens. I'm not saying that these people are our friends. They're not, but we see it. Archer Collins says, Schadenfreude seems to be all over the internet over the last week. Yes. You see, that is different. That is different from cruelty. Because when you have individuals that actually were cruel, you have a different opinion than I My internet went out, but I'm back. Oh my gosh. Yes, not only no sound, but I was gone. I was talking about horrible names. Well, look who's here. It is Star Wars Scrawn. I hope I didn't lose too many people. Oh my gosh. All of a sudden, my internet went out. It was meant to be. It was the people, it was the you know who's that are bitter over the election results. Yes, Schadenfreude is okay. I genuinely feel somewhat sorry for people who were genuinely disappointed by the results, who were deceived or whatever. But people who want to go around and they were waiting to do real harm to us. Like I remember the results of the 2020 um election, and they were saying like we're coming for you and all that. I'm like, oh my gosh, you people are terrible. Whew, terrible, terrible stuff. No sound. Oh yes, I'm back and hello. I think she lost StreamYard. Yeah. What's up with StreamYard or her connection to it? Yes, thought it was my internet for a minute. That's all right. But no, the people that called my mother and me and other people Yahtzees is just so despicable. I can't even. It's just unbelievably terrible. So, yes, if they're feeling sad, I do feel a little bit happy. Is it right? Yeah, that's okay. That's not cruelty. I'm not the one inflicting the cruelty. They were the ones that inflicted the cruelty upon themselves. They were cruel. And now they are feeling the effects of being cruel. Allowing someone to have consequences is not the same thing as inflicting it or having callous indifference to it. Knock on wood that my internet doesn't do that again. All right. So let's look at some more stuff about cruelty. An act of inflicting unnecessary emotional or physical pain. Same thing. The key word I like here is unnecessary. Not necessary. For example, that chick who wanted to make fun of a woman looking haggard because she had chemotherapy. That's unnecessary. That's really unnecessary. I have seen some examples that I won't call out because I will not call out other YouTubers unless they're like huge YouTubers like PewDiePie, unless they are here to defend themselves. But you know, and I know when this has happened. And it's not okay. Archer Collins says, and dear Rachel, sinking the Snow White movie even deeper than the Titanic. Yes, I love it. I think that is amazing. I am full of Schadenfreude. She has done it to herself. Wow, what a loser. What a person who has never had a successful movie. Thinking that she's has the power. She thinks she's acting like Tom Cruise, except the only difference is Tom Cruise is nice to his fans. But she's acting like she's that level of a star because only people way up at the top can get away with that kind of stuff. She hasn't had one hit. All of them have been flops. And then she does this. I hope Disney sues. Well, never mind. I don't want to say specifically what I want Disney to do. Hello, Michael Society. Hello. I thought the stream died. I thought, well, I was sitting here saying some choice words because my internet only tends to go out when I have something like this. This has happened before. But yes, unnecessary emotional or physical pain. Well, and that's what that girl is doing. She's not a girl anymore. She's a grown woman now. Is it necessary for her to do that? Maybe someone is actually looking forward to this movie or was. Well, they aren't now. You're taking away the joy. I experienced that a bit with the lady from Wicked. She took away some of my joy in looking forward to the movie, though she wasn't as bad as Rachel Zegler. She was just being an idiot. Um, but let's continue. Make no bones about it. Cruelty is a form of abuse. A form of abuse which can be described as indifference to suffering and even pleasure in inflicting it. Sadism can also be related to this form of action or concept. Yes, precious. Sadism. So if you think you're being cute out there on X or on your YouTube hit stream things that you like to do, you're not funny. You're not cute. You are an abuser and a sadist. Because being cruel is never okay. Oh, we're seeing a lot of different definitions. I'm not going to repeat myself. Same thing. You're deliberately causing someone pain. Physical or mental pain. That's cruelty. It's a form of abuse, and you're a sadist. Here's some things that make cruelty distinguishable, if you will. I wish I came up with all this myself, but I am not a psychologist, nor do I play one on TV, and I have my source down here. I go to people who know what they're talking about. Intentionality. A distinguishing feature of cruelty is the intention to cause harm or suffering. This differentiates cruel acts from those who inadvertently cause harm. Yeah, sometimes you're going to inadvertently cause harm. Sometimes you're going to accidentally hurt someone's feeling. That's different than doing it deliberately, than planning it. It's like the difference between first degree murder and unintentional manslaughter or whatever that's called. The manslaughter that's not even fully manslaughter. Also, when you unintentionally cause harm, you will see that people will apologize. Like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. I had no idea that I hurt your feelings when I said that. I'm sorry. People that are cruel will never apologize. They'll often double down and laugh at you. And then they'll get their little flying monkeys to support them. Obviously, I'm talking a lot about online cruelty because that is where a lot of this form of bullying has moved, and we see it, it's rampant in our circles. But this also applies to real life as well. You know it. We're coming up on Thanksgiving. There's always that one person that says something really unkind. Maybe it's that little jab, like, you know that someone really wants to have a baby and they can't conceive, or they maybe haven't found their mate yet, and maybe never will. And the person that out loud in front of everyone talks about, wow, it's so selfish that no one's giving me grandkids. Has this happened? Yeah, it does. It does. Emotional impact. Cruelty not only inflicts physical pain, but can also have profound emotional and psychological effects on victims, including trauma, fear, and decreased self esteem. I told you that it has real consequences. It has real feelings that people that experience this, whether it's in real life or online, it has the exact same effects. So when people say, "Oh, it's just on the internet," LOL, LOL, LOL. What he's so, afraid of, what he's being such a baby about. It's like, no, you're being mean. Trauma, fear, and decreased self-esteem. You see it by the effects. We have had the internet long enough that we are able to be studying this. Gosh, I really get annoyed when someone says something awful and then you kind of call them out and you're like, oh, someone's taking the internet seriously. That's part of the reason why I quit interacting on X. I will interact nicely with you on X, but no, I won't get involved in any discussions because I think that sometimes it is a place for sadists to try to seek out people to make them feel horrible. And that's terrible. Power dynamics. This is the other part of it. Acts of cruelty often involve an imbalance of power. That's how you can also discern it, with the perpetrator exerting control or dominance over the victim. So this can be a boss against an employee. It can be an adult over their child, a teacher over their student, a parent. Oh, I already said the parent. Help, you're in the church, a bishop over a priest, the choir director over a singer. Where there's imbalance of power, that is where also cruelty comes in. If you are dealing with, say, a channel with 1 million subs versus a channel with 1,000 subs, and the person not just targets you, but sends their people after you, we've seen that. And when I said 1 million, everyone's going around looking for who has 1 million subs. I'm not talking about anyone in particular. I'm talking about a person with that level of subs. Quote tweeting often involves cruelty. I always say people be very careful when you quote tweet that you are not slipping into cruelty. Because it also involves an imbalance of power, with the perpetrator exerting control over dominance over the victim. That doesn't mean that people out there that are doing that. I want to say this again. I am not pointing the finger of judgment. I'm saying it's a slippery slope. Be careful. It is Love It Ever After. Hello. Thank you for being here on point, and I appreciate you talking about this. Hey, Miss Martin and chat. Well, hello. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everyone. And if you have not liked, shared, and subscribed early and often, please go ahead and do so, because as I continue going up with my subs, it gives me a new year to discuss, because we are in the Middle Ages, baby. We are in the Middle Ages. I'm loving it. And I know Archer Collin is looking forward to me doing more of House of the Plantagenet, especially when we get to Henry V and Agincourt, which I probably mispronounced. I'm sorry, French people. Continuing. Someone who gets pleasure from hurting or humiliating others is a sadist. I am now pointing the finger of judgment. Out there, if there is somebody doing this, you are not funny. You are a sadist. You hear me? That's what you are. Sadists feel others' pain more than is normal, and they enjoy it. Now, we all know sadism also has another kind of enjoyment, but here that's not the kind we're talking about. I think that people think if they're not doing something weird and pervy, that's not sadism. No, sadism is this. Sadism involves enjoying another person's humiliation and hurt. Michael Asylum says, quote, tweeting isn't that big a deal. Those with fragile egos should stay out of the combative online spaces. I agree halfway. If it is somebody that is known to do that, that's one thing. But if you find a random and do it, I'm just saying, just be careful about the power thing. And I was just talking about fragile egos. Like, for example, I never get involved with arguments online. I will not. It's very rare that I do. And of course, I've given up on it. But if you quote tweet me, not you, Michael's Asylum, but I'm sitting there coming in good faith and someone decides to randomly make fun of me and point me out to their flying monkeys, that's not okay. And that's what I'm saying is that quote tweeting is a dangerous area that can slide into cruelty. I'm not saying all quote tweeting is. I will completely, though, 1000% agree with you that if you dish it out, you have to be able to take it. That's why you'll never see me dish it out. I can't, I don't like it. But if you dish it out, you should be able to take it. You cannot cry victim. Middle ages, says Archer Collin. My ears are burning. It's not just the headphones. I know you really, really want me to do it. You really do. Archer Collin says the masochist says, "Hurt me." The sadist replies, "No." That's interesting. Yeah, don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Yeah, it's a slippery slope. And the kind of quote tweeting that I have in mind, there are individuals that know, for example, that someone is suffering from something. And they know that what they're going to be doing is going to cause real humiliation, real pain, and they enjoy it and they think it's funny. That's the area that we are here. I won't say the people that I think it's okay to, but one of them might rhyme with hurl. She has it coming. Yeah. I personally don't get involved with that because I don't want to give her attention because that goes back to rage bait and engagement bait. You're actually rewarding the people. But yes. Well, and that chick that said what she said about Princess Catherine, she has everything coming to her. And she did try to play victim and it didn't work. All right, here are some key words that are associated with cruelty: brutality, savagery, malicious, spitefulness, sadism, heartless, inhuman, nasty, merciless, barbarity. So this is also, I think, a key where are you having fun? Is it harmless banter or is it slipping into cruelty? How do you know you're moving from Schadenfreude into cruelty? How do you know they had it coming and you're sliding into cruelty? These are the things. Is it brutal? And brutal is different than terse. I talked about the difference between that and terse. Savagery, malicious, spiteful, sadistic, heartless, inhuman, nasty, merciless. Merciless is another key. And barbarity. Hello there, lovely Sherry. I think I said hi, but if I didn't, hello. I like this. I liked kind of coming up with keywords. This is a kind of an educational thing that you can do with students. Let's see, is this the end? Oh, I've got even more. Here we go. Ridicule, humiliation, threats, name calling, gaslighting, harassment, manipulation, silence, and control. Now, obviously, some of these things are cruel and some of them aren't. It depends on the context, but this might tell you that you are going into this territory. Control is a big part of it. And the difference between harassment and persistence. What to do? Here we go. I always like to say, and what to do about it. Recognize the problem. Whether that's if you find yourself dipping into cruelty or whether you are experiencing cruelty. You got to recognize it. You got to give it a name so you know what you're dealing with. Leave the abusive situation. No ifs, no ands, or buts. There are certain things in my online world and real world, that is one strike and you are out. That does not mean I'll be mean back to you. That doesn't mean that I'll do a campaign of slander against you and all that. I'll just ignore you from henceforth because there are some things that are never okay, and that it is never okay to dip into that. The best example is, again, making fun of someone for looking a bit tired after she's had chemotherapy. That's the one strike you're out. Leave it. The hardest part about leaving an abusive situation is if you're stuck. For example, family, that's hard, as well as a job. I was in a situation like that. I did leave, but I waited till the end of the year because you don't want to leave in the middle of your contract. That was hard. Maintain a record of the abuse. This is really good if you're experiencing it, especially at work or within the family or on X or DMs. Now, just because you have a screenshot or a bookmark, though, that does not mean you publish it, especially a DM. DMs are very rarely okay to publish. Now, showing it to a friend, showing it to someone that you trust, it's like, listen, this is what this person just said to me. Is this okay? That's different. But yes, document those and keep them. Just because you document something, that doesn't mean that you ever make it public. But yes, maintain a record of the abuse. Here's one of the biggest ones. Don't engage your abuser. Someone's being cruel to you, do not engage. This goes along with rage bait, engagement bait, and all this. If there's a theme to a lot of it, don't engage. Even if they're being cruel. I have had this in real life where the person is just sitting there saying the cruelest things you could possibly imagine. And the power that you have in that situation is to not engage with it or make note of it, come back to it later at an appropriate time. Because often these people, because they are sadistic, they will enjoy your reaction. If you show them that you're upset, they will enjoy it, which is why sometimes some people will blame the person to whom the cruelty is happening, not for culpability, but for, oh my gosh, don't you know that by reacting, you're making yourself a target? Do not engage with your abuser. If you need to wait to be with somebody that you trust, whether it's a therapist, whether it's a friend, whatever, but do not engage. Don't engage with cruelty. Cruelty happens, that's it. Hello. Remember that you're not to blame. If someone's being cruel to you, you're not to blame. And so that's how you also know that you're dealing with cruelty as opposed to terseness or firmness. They'll blame you. They'll try to make it about your character. They'll try to make it about you. They'll try to make you feel even worse about yourself. It's like you're to blame. You have it coming. It almost sounds like I just said you kind of have it coming, but what I said, that's different than you being to blame. You're not culpable to it, but in context with do not engage, that's a way to protect yourself. But remember, even if you have slipped up and you have engaged, you're still not to blame. It's their choice to be cruel, not yours. Work on healthy relationships. There is no law out there that says you have to hang out with assholes, that you have to hang out with family that hurts you, with a few exceptions. Sometimes you got to suck it up for Christmas and Thanksgiving. But I've known somebody that, "Oh, this Thanksgiving, we're going on a cruise." And it's true, they're going on a cruise. And that's why we're not going to be there. It's not because we don't love you, but really they're like, I'm not going to be spending my Thanksgiving and all that money on people that are going to be cruel to me. And this is usually, of course, in family situations where you have tried. All right. So work on healthy relationships. What are the good relationships in your life? Work on those. Don't work on bad relationships. Why? Why work on something that's bad? Work on something that's good. Work on something that's good, that makes you feel good, objectively feel good, not just this warm and fuzzy, healthy. Oh, I think that is it. That is it. So, end of my slideshow. So, I have been enjoying all of your comments. And like I said, this is all very good food for thought. And we've talked about what Schadenfreude, the difference between online banter, online, well, people who have it coming, if you will. How does that no though not delve into cruelty? And that's what I'm talking about, because cruelty is no always. Other areas are a bit more gray. Now I do have down here about what would you like to muse, because I would love to muse a little bit with you. Let me see. It's I'm supposed to have someone coming over, but I have not received a text yet. So we do have some time for open musing right now, though I do have a veto power. If it's something, hey, we ain't talking about this, we're not talking about it. Also, please put in there future musings that you would like for me to cover. Now, the part when I put the keywords up earlier, I mentioned that this is a technique that you can use. This is appropriate with older elementary and middle school and high school especially. But the way you do it when you're teaching, a little bit of teaching tip, instead of you putting up the keywords, like when I put up the keywords, you have the students do so. This also works for speeches and seminars. So, for example, I'm going to put this back. You would say to the group, hey, give me some words. The topic is cruelty. What words come to your head? And maybe they would come up with things like this. And then you discuss it and you categorize it. Here's another strategy for if a classroom order, you give the marker to two people, and they're two people that usually cause issues in the class, and this way they're kept busy. And because sometimes they're just bored and they just need to move around. So have them write it down. I don't teach anymore, though, so please don't anyone try to find me, because you will not. I am not teaching anymore. I quit. And one of these days, I'm going to make one of those I'm a teacher that quit thing. Hello, everyone coming in. Please, if you have anything to say about cruelty, please go ahead and do so, or future things about which you would like for me to muse. We've already had a request for Predator 2, so I will honor that. I will honor that and probably bring in himself as a guest for it. I think it's interesting that this psychology article includes gaslighting. And you see, I think that's why we all got so upset in this election, because people can tolerate a lot, but being gaslit, that really makes people mad. And it is a form of cruelty. And I think that's why there was such a negative reaction to it. It was like powerful people. Talk about power and balance. You had celebrities, politicians, people that had real power over you because of their money, their power, their fame, their influence. And they're sitting there gaslighting you and all that. I mean, gosh, it's scary. It's a form of cruelty. It's bad. And I like the fact that we rebelled against it. I think it's beautiful about what happened with the popular vote. Jamalaba, hello. Thank you for being here. So that's just a little bit of a technique. Now, you can do this with younger elementary in certain contexts, but you need to get down to their little world. For example, what I would do with the little ones, things like with draw a picture or those little magnet things. There's different ways to get them to access a higher level of learning, but it's interesting. So we can do that. Yeah, everyone's saying hello, hello, hello. So, alrighty. Is there anything else I was thinking about today besides fixing my bike? I said that earlier. Everyone should ride their bike. If you can, ride your bike. If you have a gym membership, go to the gym. You will feel better. Go swimming. Swimming always makes you feel better. I love swimming. That's why I hate the winter, because many of the pools are not open. Jama Lama says, you're getting the popular vote. Well, yes, getting the popular vote was the icing on the cake. Oh, hell yes, it was. DJ Ronnie G is here. Yes, it's true. Biking always works for me. Yeah, biking's great. I had a great experience of biking when I was a little kid living in Ireland. I lived in Grange in Cork City near Douglas Village, though that's kind of incorporated all part of Cork City now. And we just were able to ride our bikes everywhere. We rode our bikes to the shop. We rode our bikes to school. We rode our bikes to our events. I did not, because I was not a Catholic at the time, but a lot of my friends would ride their bikes to Mass. So I try to do that as much as I can here in the United States, but it's not always as safe to ride your bike. If you live in an area that has safe bike trails, that is good. So as much as you can. Archer Clown says, but which muse? Calliope, Cleo, Polyhymnia, Euterpe, Persia, Erato, Melphalia, Italia, or Urania? What the? Explain. I'm not too smart. At least on that. John Malama says, I have a hard time doing anything for work besides surfing. I'm unable to surf right now. I got to figure something out. Oh my gosh. Yes. Surfing is great exercise. I don't do it because it would be bad. I am not as graceful as I could be, but I do see surfers. When I go to Florida, it's fun. We call them shark bait. DJ Ronnie says, yeah, I hear other areas are not very accommodating to cyclists. That is correct. So if you are in an area, do enjoy it. I'm lucky that I am able to ride to some essentials because of the neighborhood in which I live. And I enjoy doing that. I worship Polyhymnia, the muse of snoozing. Good. It's mostly paddling, to be honest. That is correct. And you have to be a strong swimmer. Archer Colin, those are the names of muses in Greek theology, I think. Oh, you see, I told you I was going to sound stupid. Okay, I'm going to steal that and pretend I knew that off the top of my head and will feel very smart. Terpus Chore is a muse of music. Yes, I am a muser and I am a music person. Yes, that is what I do. I do some areas of music work, but I do not teach anymore. Hell no. And for the most part, it was always very sad because most of the students just wanted to learn. They just wanted to have music, especially little kids. For crying out loud, little kids should be allowed to just have music and have fun. But the way the system works, you can't even do that anymore. It's ridiculous, and it's sad. And then they wonder why all the kids are going crazy. Well, let's see. Is there anything else? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start winding down this party. I do have a video coming up. And, oh, yay! It looks like I got a new sub out from this stream. Whoever you are, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So let me see. Can I do this? Can I do this in honor of who my new sub is? Hello, Jacob Ironside. Let me look. It is 146. What happened? I am not going to use my precise location. What the hell is wrong with you? Hey, Bernard of Clairvaux was hanging around that year. Let's see. Hope y'all have a great one. Yes, thank you. Thank you. 1446. If something more happened that year, then we're really going to go to town in another stream. Bernard of Clairvaux preaches the Second Crusade in Burgundy. Queen Louis VII of France and his wife, Queen Eleanor of Aquitaine, take up the cross. Oh, yeah, her first husband. Oh, they attacked Jewish communities along the Rhine. That's not good. Bernard undertakes a tour of Burgundy. Some Polish dude suffers a defeat against some other Polish dude. A lot of raids. What happened on December 25th, Christmas? The Diet of Speyer. I think I pronounced that right. Speyer. Oh, I butchered it, I know. Conrad III takes the cross and secures his election of his 10-year-old son, Henry, as his successor. Who died? Oh, there was a climate issue. A rainy year causes the harvest to fail in Europe, one of the worst famines of the century. Oh, that sucks. Eugene III reissues the bull Quantum Predecessores, proclaiming the Second Crusade. Okay. We had some births. Nobody I know. Who died? Some people died. No one too famous. All right. Well, this is not a big, huge year. It won't be as big as the Crusades, or rather the Agincourt, but that's all right. Thank you for everyone who subs to me. And I would love to continue growing, because the more I grow, the more I can continue doing some of this stuff. And I really do enjoy it. So let's keep this party moving. And all of you that have been with me on this journey of Miss Martin Muses, I definitely thank you and appreciate you, all my mods and everyone that has been in the chat today. And remember, you can find me on X and give me suggestions if you would like, or tag me on YouTube. Oh, Archer Collin has something to say. One of my favorite occurrences was when they had a religious meeting at Worms, which in England is known as the Diet of Worms. Yes, Worms, yeah. Yeah, this was not always a time that we go, yay, that was great. We don't exactly say that was okay. Things happen, though. All right, it is Jacob Ironside. Thank you for being here. Archer, Colin, Jama Llama. We had Sort of Poopus Crew Bird, Donnie Ronnie G, Steve Kenobi, Love It Ever After, Conroy 1776, the lovely Cherie, Archer Colin. I think I already said Archer Colin. Michael's Asylum, thank you for being here. Star Wars Scrawn. And Josh X IZ, who was very kind and told me that there was no sound. There was no sound. It sucked. Adiga Outlaw. And La Reina Creole, thank you for being here. Taylor Swift should have run as a third party. Corey Cochran. All of you there. I am thinking of doing memberships, but they would be simple memberships. It would be a 99-cent one where you support the channel. But again, I do not feel like I can offer huge perks, so that's why it would be just a small one. If you are interested, maybe let me know. And I need to come up with a sticker. And again, I am still caregiving, and while we're having a calmness right now, everyone seems to be relatively okay. We got hit pretty hard this last year with some really hard diagnoses, so I'm going to do my best. Thank you. Take care. Have a great evening. Thank you. Yeah, and everybody, have a great day. Everyone, have a great day. And be certain to be firm if you need to be, but never to be cruel.